There were two entertaining conference championship games yesterday. There were two entertaining Florida Panthers wins over the weekend. There was one entertaining Hurricanes men's basketball win over the weekend. There was one entertaining Hurricanes women's basketball win over the weekend. And there was zero entertaining Miami Heat action over the entire weekend. And tonight they get Phoenix. Okay.
We had some good.
Yeah, there was a lot of entertainment this weekend.
A lot of good sporting events this weekend.
None of it happened Saturday afternoon at Madison Square Garden, though.
The Heat are struggling.
It's
ugly.
But here's the thing. So we have a lot to talk about, obviously. And I want to talk about the Super Bowl matchup and the conference championship games. We were all privy to news right before we went on the air. And I'm torn because we do have so much to get to today. But our esteemed boss, Len, sent us a group text. Hey, I'm going to be home for a couple of days, but I'm available 24/7 if you need me. And as a goof, I said, I have a feeling if I called you at 3 a.m., you would not really be available. And he called me. Well, he said on the text thread, no, Jimmy can attest to the fact that he called me once at 4 a.m. to tell me that George H.W. Bush had died, the father. And I said, I could do an hour on this. And Len called me about 10 minutes ago. And I said, I got to hear this. And I'll ask Jimmy, because I know the story now. So it's 4 a.m. You're working the board for $7.90 the ticket.
Correct.
George H.W. Bush, who has not been president for many years, passes away, and you thought you needed to call Len. Why?
It was big breaking news. A former president passed away.
Inarguable. A former president had indeed passed away, and you were expecting what from Len?
I don't know, just doing my job.
That's exactly what Len said. Len said Jimmy was the overnight board op on $7.90 the ticket, and he had been given orders, months or years before. Hey, if anything major happens, you got to let me know.
And that's exactly what I did.
And that's exactly what he did.
They got to narrow it down for Jimmy.
Len painted this picture. He hears the phone ringing. He's scrambling to find the phone. There's an emergency. But anyway, Len tells me the whole story. And then at the end, he's like, and that's how I found out George H.W. Bush had passed away.
Get him, Jimmy. You know what? If somebody tells you if any big news happens,
100%.
I'm doing my job.
It does qualify as big news.
Does it?
Well, you got to play it through in your head. It is big news because it's going to lead every, network newscast. But you have to play it out in your head. What's going to transpire at 4 a.m. on $7.90 the ticket if I wake someone with this news versus if I don't? And I don't, because Len said he started to think, should I have Jimmy go on the air and announce this? And then Len thought better of it and said, you know what? I'm going to let ESPN Radio handle this because we're airing their stuff. But no, I mean, Jimmy did what was asked of him.
Exactly. I was just doing my job.
I'd love to hear how that would have gone on the air. Like how that would have transpired had Len in, just like a sleepless state, 4 a.m.
Kind of
decided,
like a
Jimmy,
haze. Right.
Jimmy, this is your time. You must tell the people that former president from 1989, George H.W. Bush, has passed away.
We have breaking news. Former president of the United States, George H.W. Bush, has passed away.
And now back to the sports babe.
We're back to ESPN Radio.
It probably was Amy Lawrence.
It probably was. Anyway, that's a delightful little story that I got over the text, and I thought that was. I'm like, that is perfect, Jimmy. He was given marching orders. We know one thing about Jimmy. He will tell squat up. He will squat up, and that's exactly what he did. It would have been funny if Len answered the phone and you said the president has died, because then maybe he would have you need to go on the air right now, Jimmy, and then he would have tuned in and you would have been talking about George H.W. Bush from 1989.
I made sure I worded it carefully.
All right.
But, Hoch, you don't think you're missing a part of the story here? Because my guess is Jimmy also in a haze, 4 a.m. I mean, we all know how they showed up to those
I know what you're going to say. That was my initial thought.
Right.
You're going to say that Jimmy may have thought the current president had passed away.
Well, not the current president, because this happened in 2018, right? George H.W. Bush passed away 2016, 2017, something like that. Like, this was fairly recent, I believe. So it couldn't have been the current president. That was either Trump or Obama whenever he passed away.
Right. But did Jimmy know?
No, I believe Jimmy thought that this was the W. Like George Bush from.
But was that worth a phone call at 4 a.m.?
Perhaps. When did he die, Jimmy? When was this? Let me look it up. Okay, November 30th, 2018. 8 years removed from office, right? Or 10 years removed from office. I think it's worth a phone call.
Well, you knew it was the father, though, right, Jimmy?
Of course.
Yeah.
Oh, he had no idea. He
I
had
think
no
he did.
idea.
I saw it on my phone. I got the notifications.
Yeah,
that
I think he
had
did.
passed
I think he
away.
did. And he had been sick, if I recall. I think Jimmy did what his marching orders were. And I think you can only applaud an employee like that, no?
Absolutely.
Hell, we got you on the afternoon drive show.
That was a long time ago.
Len wanted to keep you off overnights after that. He was ready to get woken up.
For the morning for an hour later.
You got upgraded because you wasn't waking people up at night. Get this Jimmy guy off of nights.